was younger, I was heavily influenced by my friends, by social media, just from experiences. I was actually controlled in a lot of ways, even my emotions. I don't like with my friends. I don't think they meant to do this. I don't think this was their intention. But they would say certain things. They'd act certain ways that would just. It had a big influence on me when I was a lot younger. It kind of had a little like I didn't realize, but it kind of had control over me. And it took me a while to kind of get past that. So, you've got to realize that you've got to change. You've got to realize that you can't keep on going like this. So, step one to changing and controlling your life, taking back control of your life, is just to come to the realization. Which, if you're watching this video, you've already done that full step. So I'm proud of you. But first, you just have to realize that, yeah, you've got to change. You have to realize the battle that's going on. Because some of the biggest battles, people don't even realize are happening. When people would get infiltrated back in the days, a lot of times the leaders wouldn't even know it's happening because people being killed in silent. So you have to realize that there is a battle going on, and you can't just stand on the sidelines. And then the step two is making a plan. You don't just, you can't attack something if you don't know what you're attacking, or you don't know how you're going to attack it. So make a plan. Like, I have this little notebook here, and in this notebook I have, like a daily schedule. I have like every hour planned. Like 5 a.m. I woke up. I do my gratitude journaling. I read my Bible. I play. I wash my face, brush my teeth. So you basically need to have, like, maybe you don't have to have every single hour of your day planned, but you need to have a good idea of what you're going to be doing every day. And you also need to know why you're doing it. Like, what are you attacking? What are you trying to achieve? Like, are you trying to get some better job? Are you trying to have a better family life? Are you trying to learn? Like, why are you even watching this video? Like, you may not realize why you're watching this video. You may have just saw it and thought it was an interesting title, or the thumbnail looked good, or whatever. But you need to learn and find out why you want to change and where you're trying to go. So you need to plan and strategize how you're going to get there as well. So find out what you're trying to do. For me, I realized I need to make this channel. So I've strategized. I'm making, one long video a week. I'm making 3 shorts every day. So I have a plan in place of how I'm going to grow this. So you need to find your plan and just be consistent with it. And then step 3, is as basic as it sounds, is to execute your plan. Like you have to push forward. It may not be easy. It won't be easy. But too many people, you'll probably like this as well. Too many people say they're gonna do big things. They get motivation for a day, maybe a week, but then they just stop. They get complacent. So you need to execute on your plan and keep with it. And at first, you're probably not going to do very well. So a book that I read that was a game changer for me is a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And something he talks about in this video, in this book, is starting out with small quantities of the habit you're trying to build. So, say you're walking out. Instead of trying to do an hour workout, instead of trying to work out 5 days a week immediately, just do 5 minutes. Just do a few minutes. Get the habit going. And every single day, no matter how much you don't want to do it, just do a few minutes. Because something he also says in his book is missing one day is just a mistake. Missing 2 days is a sort of a new habit. So you just have to show up. Even if you get to a point where you're, for working out, if you're doing it an hour a day, and you miss a day, that's going to affect the entire habit. Because if you miss one day, there's more chances you're going to miss another. And then, as he said, that's a beginning of a new habit. So you need to just, even if you can only walk out 5 minutes that day, that is better than not walking out at all. It's better to do 20 push-ups, every day than to do 2 hours every month. Because you're at least building up the mentality, you're building up your habit. So you just got to push forward and just execute. So you already have your plan. Just take all of the aspects of that plan and just execute them. Do whatever you can to get the ball rolling. Just execute. Then step 4 is to have God on your side. You may not be a Christian. I didn't put, some Christian title, some Christian thumbnail or anything. So, you may not be a Christian. But before you click off, just realize that we are sinful people. And we deserve to go to hell. But God sent his son to die for us so we don't have to. If God sends his son for us, then he obviously loves us. He obviously cares for us. Not many people would give up their own son for someone else. Imagine, if you're a father, would you give up your son for your best friend? Probably not. But God did. It shows his compassion for us. So you need to have God on your side. And God wants to be on your side. Whether you realize it or not, that little voice in your head that's making you feel like, something isn't right, that's not all just because you're lazy. Some of the people that are the hardest working people, they still have that voice. But that voice is God trying to get a hold of you. So you just need to keep God on your side. It will change everything. Okay, and then step 5 is to enjoy the process. So many people, they always focus on the destination, the end goal, the money, the wife. But you never seem to focus on what's actually important, the process of getting there. It's like if you were, hiking or taking a run on some rocky hill or a rocky mountain or something, okay? And those rocks, those weeds, those sticks, all across the path. If you can see the finish line and you're just staring directly at the finish line, then you're going to be tripping. You're going to be getting bruised. You're going to get hurt. You're going to be set back. But if you are focusing on what's underneath you, focusing on the process, enjoying the process, making friends on the way there, then when you finally get to the finish line, you're going to feel so much more fulfilled. You're going to have people that you've met along the way to share that success with. And it's just going to go better in general. Alright, so I have a verse real quick to read. Romans chapter 8, verse 28 says, "And we know that all the things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose." So we know everything is going to work out well for those who follow God. And it says to people who are called. Everybody is called in some way. You know, like I'm called to make this ministry, to make this channel. That's the only reason I'm here right now. You may, be called at your job. Let's say you're a construction worker. Maybe during lunch break you're meant to talk to people about Jesus. We all have a purpose. We all have a purpose in some way. You just have to find it. I found it just a few months ago. And now I have an entire ministry. Having thousands of views on this channel just within just a few months. So you gotta find your purpose. And then when you find it, you gotta go as hard as you can. Just like step 3. You just have to execute. You have to do whatever you can to get the ball rolling. So we all have purpose in God. And I pray that you realize that. We get so wrapped up in, what we want in life, the money, the women, the whatever. But we forget that God is the center of it. And I pray that if you don't know God, that'll change today. If you have any questions about God, I'll have you can either comment on this video or I'll have my Instagram in the description. You can DM me. If you have any questions, just let me know. If you want to learn more about purpose, I made a video about it, and it's on screen right here. Hope you guys have a good one. Peace, world.